2013, and welcome back to our 70th consecutive episode of 5 Minutes at the Frat House with Frat House Mike and Sidekick. You know, there's something about New Year's. I wouldn't say it's my favorite holiday of the year, but it's like I get this feeling of like newness. Well, of course they call it New Year, but I mean, you know, like you get a whole new fresh look on things, new challenges coming ahead, new opportunities. You know,
Start with a clean slate.
Yeah, exactly. All that kind of thing. I like the whole New Year concept, and so I got a question. Have you got anything new planned?
Oh, I got lots of new things planned.
You got lots of new things?
Yeah.
Anything you care to share?
Well, we kind of hit on it about the.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I got the. You know, yeah, I've actually I kind of teased about it, broke it on the show a couple weeks ago, but I've kind of now made it. You know, it's now open, more official that I am training for a fight this year.
Can you believe this? Training for a fight. We're going to keep you we'll keep you up to date on that one and let you know how that goes as we go. What the time frame on that? I think you're saying somewhere.
I'm looking towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
I still got some weight to cut down before I cut weight to actually get in the fight, and you know I do have a lot more training to do. So
I live for this shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but I've now started, 4 days. I'm up, 2 days a week. I'm up at 5 in the morning, training.
Wow.
So,
Guys, really serious.
Yep.
Well, listen, I'm going to kick it off with a little bit of a new development here. Kind of breaking news right here from the Frat House. As a result of our relationship with Junkies Radio, beginning this Saturday, our weekly episodes of 5 Minutes at the Frat House will be rebroadcast on Fan Junkies Radio over on Blog Talk Radio every Saturday. So that'll be happening. That will be happening every week. And what's nice about that is that you'll still all be getting it in a very timely manner over there. Blog Talk Radio again. It'll be on Fan Junkies Radio, but it'll just be the rebroadcast of this exact video. And many times, we're talking about things that affect the weekend, that might affect the Sunday or whatever. You'll be able to get it in advance, so it won't be after the fact. So I thought that was kind of neat. That was kind of great news to start the new year with, and only showing good things for all of us here at the Frat House as we enter our second year, because we started in 2010, right? 2011. So we're going into our second year. All right. This is going to be our all football New Year's program. And so I thought what we would do is we'd start it off with a big game coming up on Monday. Not the NFL. Nope, we're going to take a look first at the BCS Championship game that is scheduled for Monday on January 7th at 8:30. And there we've got number 1 Notre Dame going up against number 2 Alabama. And yes, you can bet I'll be checking that one out, as I've been checking all of the bowl games out as we've gone through them, at least the big ones. As I mentioned quite a few weeks ago, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they've captured the imagination of many in the national sports media, as well as many college football fans all across the country, as they compete for their first national championship for the first time since 1988. Now, for Alabama, this is kind of old hat. This could be a repeat of last year. Let's get it straight for the team and Nick Saban, who finds himself competing for the national title for the third time in the last 4 seasons. The Crimson Tide won the BCS Championship in 2010 and in 2012. Now, currently, Alabama is a 10-point favorite over the Irish. What do you think on this one, Sidekick? Do you want to take a stab at a pick on this? I won't have it count against our record.
Well, I'm going with Tide. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Going with Alabama on this one.
I would think so. Yeah. Alabama, I think. I had no idea that the point spread was this high until I actually looked it up today. But I've been saying all along that I was going to go with Alabama on this one. And
well, not only that, but they beat the spread.
Oh, you think they'll beat the spread?
Yeah.
They'll beat the 10 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Notre Dame's defense is pretty good.
Yeah, but they got you got the 2 running backs from Alabama.
Yeah.
So and in the championship game they just played for the first time ever in SEC championship game history.
Right.
Both running backs were over 100 yards.
Yeah.
So it's if they can contain the run from Alabama, I think they got a chance at it.
Yep.
But if those running backs get going, forget it. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, that's on Monday, so check it out, and we'll be back here next week at this time, and we'll be giving you the wrap-up on that game and letting you know who actually came out on top in the BCS Championship. Let's go over and take a look at the NFL, though, since that's all we're going to be talking is football tonight. Now, the day following the final regular season game of the NFL has become known as Black Monday, because that's invariably the day when head coaches and other team management types frequently get their walking papers, particularly on teams that perhaps maybe didn't do as well or had losing records. Now, but I made the comment on Monday on Junkies Radio that what happened this past Monday really seemed to me to be a lot more aggressive with the news of coaching changes and what have you than what we've become accustomed to and what we've seen in the past.
Sure.
And that was confirmed to me by a couple of days later by ESPN's Adam Schefter, who reported that, ready? 7 NFL head coaches were fired Monday. That's more than the amount of head coaches fired on that Monday after the regular season in the last 3 seasons combined. 5 NFL general managers were fired Monday. Only 4 general managers were fired on that Monday after the regular season from 2007 to 2011 combined. So, in fact, there was a lot more activity this past Monday.
And 3 of those teams, it was the coach and the GM.
And the general manager. And in a couple of them, it was just the general manager, which was actually a bit odd. But notably, the head coaches that are out include Lovie Smith of the Chicago Bears, Romeo Crennel of the Kansas City Chiefs, Chan Gailey of the Buffalo Bills, Ken Whisenhunt of the Arizona Cardinals, Andy Reid of the Philadelphia Eagles, Pat Shurmur of the Cleveland Browns, and Norv Turner of the San Diego Chargers. All right, so I guess the only question I have to throw out on that one to you, Sidekick, is any surprises there?
Lovie Smith actually comes up as a surprise for me. You know, we knew Norv was out. We knew Andy Reid was going to be out.
Yep.
So there was no big surprise there.
There was a lot of talk. Chan Gailey was probably gone. That one didn't come as a surprise.
Romeo Crennel, you know, it was kind of mid-tier for me. You know, they didn't have, they had worst record they've had in years, but it was only a second year.
Yep.
So I wasn't quite
actually,
sure.
It was his first full year.
Or I'm sorry, yes, it was his first full year. Yes.
Right.
Because he took over the end of.
Correct.
You know, so but then I guess on the other hand, I was kind of surprised he got the job in the first place. So I don't know.
Yeah.
A little, yeah.
So I mean, now there's a lot of movement we're hearing right now on some of these guys. Lovie Smith apparently, it looks like he's probably going to end up in another place quite quickly. Andy Reid is moving very, very fast. I mean, word is right now, Kansas City looks like his landing spot, and that could be announced as early as perhaps maybe even this evening or tomorrow. Right. So some of these guys are going to be on the move. I've heard Ken Whisenhunt actually brought up. I was a little bit surprised at that, but Ken Whisenhunt's name's been brought up. I forget with what team. I think it might have been Buffalo. Was looking at potentially interviewing him as well. So,
and since you brought up Ken Whisenhunt, you know what's kind of ironic. You look at Andy Reid and Ken Whisenhunt; they are the winningest coach in their team's histories.
Is that right?
Yes. And they were both shown the door.
I did not realize that. Ken Whisenhunt over at Arizona, really?
Yep. Winningest coach in Cardinals history.
Okay.
And then to take it one step further, you throw in Lovie Smith, you've got three coaches with Super Bowl experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So, again, next week I'm sure there'll be a lot more movement. I'm sure there'll be a lot more things that'll be finalized. I think a lot of these teams are not going to sit around and wait too long on these kinds of decisions. So I'm sure that we'll be bringing you an update at that point next week. All right. And now where are we? Well, we're at the point where we're entering the exciting, what I call second season of the NFL. And now we know. I mean, all of the playoff matches are set as we enter Wilacard weekend. With 2 games on Saturday and then 2 again on Sunday. And so let's kick it off with our Saturday games. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 10-6, and they will be traveling to the Houston Texans, who are 12-4. That game will be at 4:30 on Saturday. And the Bengals ended their season well last week, beating the Baltimore Ravens 23-17. Now the real difference, though, in that game, and let's get it right up front there. The real difference in that game was a late fourth quarter pick 6 by Carlos Dunlap. And that really was the difference, in my opinion, in the game, because the Bengals offense was really quite, mediocre, pedestrian. Because when you take a look at this particular game, in almost every single statistic in the box score, if you never looked at the final score, you would think that Baltimore had won that game. The Ginger Giant, Andy Dalton, mediocre. 10 of 15, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. Now that was before Bruce Gradkowski came into the game. Game plan had the Bengals running the ball for a mere 47 yards. And an additional 143 yards in the air. Get a load of these. And when I said that when you took a look up and down the box score, every statistic favored the Ravens. Get a load of this disparagement, and the Ravens lost. The Ravens had 352 yards of offense. The Bengals 189. You almost sit there and go, how in the world did the Bengals win? But of course, the Ravens weren't playing Flacco. So
There's something screwy around here.
I'd say so. Last week, now let's go take a look at the Texans. Last week, the Texans went into Indianapolis, a 7-point favorite, and lost again. In fact, the Texans right now are 2-3 in their last 5. They fell to the Colts last week, 28-16. Matt Schaub had an absolutely horrible performance, in my opinion. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Arian Foster made a reappearance in that game last week. He carried the ball 16 times for 96 yards and a touchdown. We've talked about it numerous times around here, and many of us here at the Frat House. And I think we're all kind of come to the same consensus. I've been unimpressed with the recent performances of the Houston Texans. At the same time, I personally feel that the Bengals are an inconsistent team themselves. The Texans are favored by 4.5. Where do you have the first game going?
Well, let's break it down a little bit. The Bengals have won 7 over the last 8 games. Mm-hmm. Their pass defense hasn't allowed 300 yards passing since week 2. They haven't allowed 100 yards rushing since week 11. The Texans 2-3 in the month of December after going 10-1.
Right.
I'm going with the Bengals on this one. I think they've got more of the momentum. The Texans have kind of just let it go. Thought they, almost felt like it was theirs and kind of let it go. And I think they've lost the momentum now.
And for that very same reason, I'm going to go with the Texans. And when I say the very same reason, I am sure that the media down in Houston right now is screaming. I am sure that the talk show programs down there have fans really, really, recognizing exactly the same things that we've recognized and are probably putting the Texans' feet to the fire. I think that the Texans have to come out and prove something. I think they got a little something to prove, too, from last year's playoffs. I think the Texans are going to pull this one off this week. I don't know. We'll see who they have to match up. If they win, we'd have to see who they're going to match up, in round 2. Maybe they fall off at that point. But I think for the first round against the Bengals team, I'm going to go with the Texans. Game 2 on Saturday is the Minnesota Vikings, who are 10-6 at the Green Bay Packers, who are 11-5. And that game will be played at 8 o'clock on Saturday. It's a terrific matchup in my opinion, Sidekick, because it's a perfect mirror of last Sunday's finale. When the Vikes won, they won their way into the playoffs by beating their rival Packers 37-34 on a Blair Walsh 29-yard field goal with nothing left on the clock, 0-0 on the clock. Last week's game was in Minnesota. This week the game is going to be in Lambeau.
Yep.
Both quarterbacks were quite impressive. They were quite good. Just get a load of these numbers. Ponder, 16 of 28, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 122.2 QB rating. Rodgers, 28 of 40, 365 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 131.8 QB rating. Where was the difference? Easy. Adrian Peterson. 34 carries for 199 yards and a touchdown. Came up, what was it, just 9 yards? Was it just 9 yards?
Short.
Short of the single season, I think I got this right, all-time rushing leader record, all right? On paper, this is a really intriguing matchup to me, Sidekick, because as I started out by pointing out, it is an absolute repeat of last week's game. Nonetheless, Green Bay is a 7.5-point favorite. That's a big line. The Packers have promised Peterson is not going to rack up 200 yards on him again this week. That's not going to happen. They've already indicated that. 7.5-point favorite. Can they cover that line? What do you think? Which way is this going?
Well, Green Bay has got Randall Cobb coming back this week. They're going to be playing in Lambeau in the cold.
Right.
The Vikings have been, we joked about them being a little schizophrenic during the season,
Yes.
and I have a feeling that this is a turn.
They're not going to
week.
take their meds this week?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm going with Green Bay on this one at home. I think they come out. Green Bay's got something to prove, especially since last week.
Yeah.
They'll probably game plan over what happened last week, and with the familiarity, I think Green Bay's going to put it on the Vikings this week.
Well, we have said repeatedly, I think we said it again last week, what have the Minnesota Vikings been, really? It's been Peterson.
Yes.
And when you've got the Green Bay Packers coming out and actually making, or at least some on the defense of the Green Bay Packers coming out and making statements early in the week, saying, that's not going to happen again. Not this time, not at Lambeau, not in our home field. I think you can bet that they're going to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep.
You take Peterson out of the mix, you got to give the game to Green Bay. I'm not sure if they cover the spread. I think they probably will. I actually think they will cover this line. But absolutely, you got to take Green Bay on this one this week. Let's jump over to Sunday. We got the Indianapolis Colts 11-5 at the Baltimore Ravens, who are 10-6. That'll be the 1 o'clock game on Sunday, as I pointed out. Interesting matchup here. We've already talked a little bit about both of the games that these two teams played last week. As mentioned, the Colts are coming off that win against the Texans, 28-16. Andrew Luck in that particular game went 14 of 28, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Vic Ballard has become the Colts' ground game, and I say become because did anybody know his name in the beginning of the season? I sure didn't. But take a look.
He was on my team.
Oh, well, everybody's on your team. Everybody was on your team.
At some point during the season.
But let's take a look at the numbers. I mean, Vic Ballard, just a mere 3.3 average yards per carry. I mean, that's it. T.Y. Hilton and Reggie Wayne, they've become Luck's main targets. As already mentioned, the Ravens are coming off that 23-17 loss to the Bengals. And as I pointed out earlier, that we got to preface that by saying you got to remember, Joe Flacco, I think, only played a portion of the first quarter of that game, so
right.
They were without their main quarterback. With backup quarterback though, Tyrod Taylor, the Ravens had a pretty balanced offensive game last week. 206 yards on the ground and 183 yards in the air. The X factor this week, in my opinion, well, I won't say it absolutely will be, but might be Ray Lewis and the return of Ray Lewis.
Yep.
And the odds makers might be thinking that way as well, as the Ravens are a 6.5-point favorite. What do you think? Can Andrew Luck keep the Cinderella team going?
Well, I don't think anybody thought we were going to see the Colts here. There's a couple teams, frankly, we didn't think we were going to see here. But welcome back, Ray. He also announced his retirement this week, so I think the Ravens are going to be emotional and charged up for this game. I'm going to go with the Ravens on this. Flacco's been good at home. He's got a 62.2% completion rate at home. I'm going with the Ravens.
I hear everything you're saying, and I made this pick yesterday on Junkies Radio. I'm going to stick by it. In my opinion, there has to be at least one upset, particularly in round one of the playoffs. And this is the upset I'm picking. And I might be completely wrong, and it wouldn't surprise me if I were. All right? You know me, I'm not a big Joe Flacco fan, so you can throw all the numbers you want at me about Joe Flacco. That doesn't mean a thing. I do think that Andrew Luck is riding a bit of a momentum surge right now. Here he is, a rookie quarterback. All right, he's not RG3 in my opinion, but he's taken them this far, and they're in the playoffs, as you pointed out. Nobody expected this at 11-5. So the momentum, I actually think, might be in favor of the Indianapolis Colts. At the same time, I think there could be a momentum shifting at different times during this game because of the whole Ray Lewis factor. Nonetheless, I am going to pick the Indianapolis Colts, and like I said, I'm just doing that because really, I think there has to be an upset, and to me, this one might be the one. So
because this is probably one of the two closest games, I think, for this weekend.
What's the other one that you think is the
Well, we talk about that. Yeah, we talk about
yeah. And the next one is Seattle Seahawks 11-5 at the Washington Redskins, who are 10-6, and that will be the final game of Wilacard weekend. That game will be played at 4:30 on Sunday. And great point, and I pointed out here, this might just be the game of the weekend. Much in the same way that we saw the Cowboys-Redskins matchup last week being the last game of the weekend, and that was the game of the week. Last weekend, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks bettered their record by taking care of the St. Louis Rams 20-13. Wilson, who has quietly, in my opinion, worked his way up to becoming the fourth-ranked quarterback in the entire league. Currently has 26 touchdowns, just 10 interceptions in his rookie year. When was the last time we had two rookie quarterbacks ranked number 3 and number 4 in the league? Really? I don't know. Has it ever happened? RG3 and Russell Wilson are ranked 3rd and 4th in the entire league.
Yep. And Russell Wilson tied Peyton Manning's rookie season for touchdowns. Against
the Rams last week, this is what Russell Wilson did. He was damn near perfect in my estimation. 15 of 19 for 250 yards. He had a touchdown and 136.3 QB rating. Now, between Wilson and then you throw in their 3rd-ranked running back with Marshawn Lynch, the Seattle's offense looks pretty darn balanced, if you ask me.
Yep.
Then you throw in that, what I consider to be quite a good defense. You can start to see where this game's going. Let's go take a look at the Redskins real quick. They won the NFC East last Sunday by beating the Cowboys. Actually, let's get that straight. The Cowboys beat themselves. 28-13, the Redskins walked away with that one. RG3 was, he was hobbled a bit with an ankle. Is it an ankle, foot issue last week? Couldn't even, he was having trouble. Oh, it's a knee issue? Okay. He's having trouble even planting his leg down there. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anything, but it could still continue to be a lingering question for this week. So here's my suggestion to RG3. Don't run around, dude. You don't need to. You got Alfred Morris. Rookie running back Alfred Morris. Carried the ball last week 33 times for 200 yards. How many touchdowns? How many? 3. 3 touchdowns. Morris is ranked 2nd in running backs in the entire league. Rookie with 1,613 yards. Listen, don't underestimate the Redskins defense as well. Take a look at what they did to Tony Romo last week. 5 times they hit him, sacked twice, picked him 3 times. Picked 3 times. It's an intriguing game, and you made reference to it before that it might be one of the closer ones we've seen.
Yep.
Seahawks are favored by 3 on the road. They're favored by 3. Who's coming out on top of this? Is it Wilson's game or is it RG3's?
This is the battle. I'm calling this the battle of the rookies of the year. And we talked about it a little bit pre-show. I kind of lead a little bit towards Russell Wilson for that, based on his tying Peyton's touchdown rookie season. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from RG3. I mean, both quarterbacks have been phenomenal this year, and then followed closely by Andrew Luck. I mean, what a class that came out this year.
Yep.
So wherever they're going with this, anyway, I am completely don't know how to pick this game. We talked about before. These teams are so closely matched together.
Yes.
We talked about if this game had been held in Seattle. Without a doubt, I'm giving it Seattle because of the 12th man. In Washington, I'm tossed up. I mean, I don't have anything circled. So I'm gonna make this my bomb diggity bomb pick of the week.
There you go.
And I'm gonna go with the Hawks on this one.
Going with the Hawks. Yeah, bomb diggity picks on the fly. How do you like that one? I like the Seahawks a little bit better as well in this one. I think their offense is a little more explosive. I like their defense a lot. I've liked their defense over at Seattle going back to last season. So I was praising them last season. So I'm taking Seattle as well on this one. Taking Seattle.
And this will be a nail biter.
Oh,
guaranteed. This
it will
is gonna
be,
go.
and it's going to be a good game to watch. There's no doubt about that. Let's quick run over and take a look at our Facebook, Frat House Facebook post of the week.
Yep.
And the post that got the most views and comments on this week was a pic and a post that was put up by our Frat House administrator, Mark, who was lauding the Ravens and and Ray Lewis as they go into the playoffs, as we just talked about.
Yep.
And it was a most appropriate NFL playoff weekend posting, so we appreciate that. We want everybody keep all that kind of good stuff coming. Keep getting the posts up there. We only got a couple weeks left of the playoffs, so keep those posts coming over there on the Facebook page. Fan Junkies. All right?
Yep.
Great time of year to be jumping in on that. Playoff time. I mean, there's all kinds of fans over there. You're going to find fans from every imaginable team, every imaginable corner of the country. So get over. It's free. It's social media. Jump on it. Sign up. It'll take you 3 minutes to sign up on that.
Yep. I was, as a matter of fact, just yesterday I was on there talking MMA.
There you go. MMA too.
There were some MMA articles up.
There's every sport is represented over there. Every single sport, soccer, everything. You get name it, it's over there. All right. Right down to NASCAR and NHRA, which we run. Fan Junkies Radio. How about that one? All right. We talked about it a little bit on the front end of the show. Yesterday we had Jonathan and I had a terrific show. We had former Ranger on and Adam Graves. I don't know if you had a chance to hear it. It was a fabulous interview. And this is the kind of thing you can expect from Fan Junkies Radio as we go through the month of January, and we're lining up guests all the way into February and down the line. So more and more guest appearances are going to be coming up on Fan Junkies Radio. Herb FM Sports were being rebroadcast over there, down there as well. They're down in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. Yep. And they just keep, in fact, we're going to be on at about 8:30, which is about 45 minutes from now. Just this evening, they're going to be rebroadcasting us. So make sure you get over there and check them out for us. That's herbfm.com. And last but not least, Frat House Sports. All right? Check it out. All of our videos are over there. Check out any new articles that we can get up there when we can get them up there. And just keep that kind of thing going. Let all your friends know about it. All right. Listen, finally, all of us here at the Frat House, well, we're thrilled that we're in the new year, and we wish all of you the very best for 2013. Keep us going here. Help us out. I ask, get 2, 3, 4 of your friends to just take a look at our videos every week. Jump over to Facebook, join our Facebook account, go to Frat House Sports, check all that out. Keep us going as we go through the new year. That's what we need. We need your support in order to keep this going. And we wouldn't have been going for 70 straight weeks if it weren't for you guys. All right, and we're going to see you again next week. And I'm sure that's going to be, again, another heavily NFL-filled program. You can bet on that as we enter the second round of the NFL playoffs. And you don't want to miss it. So in the meantime, you know what you got to do. You got to keep us real, you got to keep us live, and you got to keep us going. We'll see you next week.
Forget about it when it doesn't go your own way and finish.
Wow. Michigan at the 41. What a hit! Ball's free on the ground. South Carolina deserves to have it, and they do.
Clowney just says, I'll take care of business right here. You give me this long to catch my breath, I'll come off the ball and rock you and get it right back for our offense. It's a power play off the left side, and Clowney ignites himself into the Michigan backfield. How about that quickness and get off? Then he scoops it up with his left hand. He wanted to roll with it. Not many guys I've ever seen can get off the ball and rock people like Clowney.
What a play by the man, as we've said, who's touted as the best player in the country.